She was lured across an ocean by her own father, only to be trapped, abused, and silenced. But she didn't just survive. She became the doctor her abuser said she'd never be. This is the story of Dr. Luissa Kiprono, a true embodiment of resilience, and it's one you won't forget. Let's dive in.
Cheap made, except for a bowl of food and, $1 a week. You abuse me when you want, you rape me when you want, miserable, but pretty lucrative. And my father said, Rizal will never become a physician.
Today on From Wounds to Wisdom, we're joined by Dr. Luissa Kiprono, physician, best-selling author, and survivor of unthinkable abuse. Born in Romania and later trapped in a cycle of violence in the U.S., Luissa's journey from captivity to becoming a specialist in high-risk pregnancy is nothing short of heroic. Her story is a powerful testament to hope, resilience, and the belief that no dream is out of reach. Welcome, Luissa.
Hi, Barbie. Thank you so much for having me with you today.
Thank you. So I know you have quite the journey, and I know that your history of being born in Romania and then coming to the US. Can you kind of just give us your story on how all of this started in your life, and then we'll go into what you're doing now?
I was born and raised, as you said, in communist Romania. Had a pretty uneventful, childhood when it comes to the love of my mother and my grandparents. I did my school there. I finished my high school in Romania. My goal always, since I was a fifth grader, was to become a physician. So after I finished high school, I was getting ready to pass the medical school admission exams, which in Romania or in Europe, it's a little bit different than here in the United States. Here we had what we call the medical college admission test, which is the MCAT, which is part of the admission process. But in Romania, for instance, the number one way to get into medical school. You don't get good grades into that particular exam, you will not pass. You will not get into medical school. Very, very competitive. I took a year off between high school and go into medical school just so I can prepare myself better. And during that bridge year, my father, who was a former political dissident, he actually was here in the United States. He escaped about 10 years prior to that year, crossed the Danube River, got caught and bought really by the German government. The Germans took him. He spent a year in Germany, and then he decided to relocate to United States. So really, through my childhood, I did not get to know my father. I only met him twice. It's just funny because my mother's and my father's relationship really, they dated for 3 years and they stayed married for 6 months. And I think it's kind of hilarious, right? You shouldn't have got married, right? But no, he had very, very thinking, like he decided that, family is not for him. And yeah, I got an invitation when I was 18 to come and visit America for 2 months, but also to come to visit him and not get to know him. And, just like every child or young adult or even adult in their prime, we kind of have this very primal desire to know parents. That all, I had 50% of his DNA, so I wanted to meet him. So I came here for 2 months. That was my plan. And I thought was my father's plan as well. Well, it wasn't. So he really had the plan and the desire to keep me here to United States. But that was not shared with me. And so about 2 weeks into the trip, the question popped, like, so now that you're here, let's just see what we can do to keep you here. I was a month shy of the age of 19. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, we're on the same page. So that really prompted a series of outbursts, let's call it, on his end. I was coerced into changing my name. He took my passport away, tried everything under the sun to keep me here, promised things that never came to happen. Once the main reason why actually I was forced to stay is because now I was an enemy of the state. Since I could not speak any language, he drafted a letter, and that's what we presented at the immigration. That pretty much my doors to go back home were closed.
Before you continue, why did he want you to stay so bad? I mean, obviously, there's a difference between a parent like being excited to see their child and a parent basically saying you can't leave.
If I tell you what he told me when I said that, you're not gonna get that. I mean, it's the most childish thing. I don't want to be alone.
Mm. So he wanted basically to stop you from going back to home, to going to medical school, to living your life simply because he did not want to be alone. And did he
Yeah.
not want to be alone in a way that was inappropriate for you to be his daughter and like he's looking at you as more of like a partner or a mate versus your daughter being a daughter?
Yes, that was not disclosed to me. He remarried. He actually came to the United States with his second wife. He had another child with his wife. And then about a year before I arrived here in the United States, he got divorced, but he also lost custody.
Mm,
So I believe that is what prompted his invitation,
mm,
which to me is a very, very unhealthy and untrue way to lure in, okay, an 18-year-old child, your
right,
child, you are her parent. You cannot consider someone your child when you have not seen that child for ever in your life, right? Because it's really not who birth or who donate the sperm.
right.
It's whoever raises you.
Hmm.
I mean, it took me a while to realize that he never looked at me as his child, as his daughter. He
Just,
looked at me, like you said, like a partner, like a maid. I
mhm,
used to say, "Well, I'm such a cheap maid. Except for a bowl of food and $1 a week. Can't get in that.
mm,
You abuse me when you want. You rape me when you want. You put me to work and take the money when you want."
mm.
So, I mean, that's a pretty miserable but pretty lucrative, arrangement on his side, like
Yeah.
any abuser.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the sad thing is that you just wanted to get to know your father.
Mhm.
Mm,
7 years has passed. And in the meantime, after, of course, I learned the language, I worked a lot of jobs, got my real estate license. All the money would go to him. I started taking classes because that was one of the things that we had an understanding to bring my mother here to the United States. So, as he put it, to reunite our family. Second, to allow me to go to medical school. Neither one have come to par. The day of when I put my paperwork into immigration, that very evening, I said, okay, well, now that you had it your way and I signed this and now I'm stuck here. Let's work on my mother's paperwork. And he said that your mother will never come here as long as I live.
what a betrayal.
And the second part, he kept saying that, oh yeah, you'll become a doctor, I'll help you. The only thing, Barbie, is again, remember the system? We don't know the system. Of course you can be a doctor. Of
Right.
course you can do that. Well, the evil is in the details. So, yes, he painted a very good picture that yes, that is possible, yes, but it's not achievable. In the Romania, for instance, or Europe, after you finish high school, you do medical school for 6 years.
Hmm.
There is no undergrad. See, I did not know that. So,
Right. And you wouldn't know how to research it because I'm sure back then there wasn't the internet.
and I can't speak the language
You can't
either.
speak the language, exactly. And your only source of information is your father who continues to lie to you.
About a year before I got my citizenship, October 1990, he allowed me to go home to see my mom. or maybe it was September. It was right there in the fall, 5 days, very short because, that's all I got. But also because he would schedule right before would start taking a course. Because I was not taking a program, I was just taking courses here and there. The big long lie that I kept myself because that's all I knew. I went home to see my mom, and my mom pulled me away and says, I really want to talk to you. She gave me 1,000 lei. In Romania is a lot of money, especially at, the salary she was making. So I said, no, I can't take your money. I'm supposed to take care of you. Now, remember, now I am like 26 years old. I should be taking care of my poor mother. She should not giving me money, right? Here, I live in America, Barbie.
Right.
And it doesn't, right. So she says, well, just I want you to have them because you never know when you need them. And I said, well, Mom, I don't want you to worry. I'm fine. My mom never knew the horrible secret I'm carrying. When I become a doctor, you come there and live with me. And then she proceeds to tell me that she talked to my father a couple of days before that. Nothing is panning out of what you promised her. And my father said, Luisa will never become a physician. She will do a very good secretary in my real estate business.
Your mom tells you that, right? And you go back. What is the reason why you don't stay in Romania?
I considered it my fault
Which is very like most victims do, right? We think that it's our fault. We did something.
for believing in this man,
Right.
for coming here, for believing in all those promises. You wanna believe the dream, right? To have a family, to dream to become a doctor, to have your mother and your father together that I never had. So when you do that, then you realize that nothing is panning out. What I have decided, it's my fuck up. I gotta fix it now.
Mm.
So all those years, there was my self-punishment that I will have to become a doctor on my own in America. I am not going back home with my head down and admitting or accepting the fact that I failed.
Right.
So I took the money. I came home, back to America. He left in December of that year, come visit Romania for 2 weeks. And during that month, just miracles kept coming. I got my citizenship on December 3rd, 1993, with the help of my best friend, because I had no car. I had a driver's license, but I had no car. I was blessed to actually put some of that money down that I had from my mom, succeeded to get a loan for a secondhand car. I was working at a supermarket in New Hampshire. They promised me a week. I applied for a second job in banking, got a one-bedroom apartment. It just happened.
And he's in Romania, so he has
He's
no idea what's going on right now.
If I'm not escaping now, I'm not going to escape. I mean, like there's nothing happened because, he will take the car away from me because I learned a lot during this time. I didn't have internet. I was still typing on a typewriter. I didn't have a phone except for the house phone and so forth. So when he came back, I picked him up from the airport and I handed him the letter telling him that I will be moving out and the only relationship we'll have from there on would be, meeting out for coffee or for lunch and discuss this very, very platonic as thought.
And what did he say?
He tried to hit me and I called the police. When they came, they asked me what's going on. So I said, well, my father tried to hit me, belt me, and I said, I'm moving out. He says, well, you can't stop her. She's an adult. And the audience, me, I don't want to ask, is like, okay, so why didn't you tell the police then? I get this question again all the time. What exactly would I have had accomplished? Become another statistic? Become the newspaper article of the day, and then what?
Yeah. You just wanted to move forward in your life. Your goal was to become a doctor. You just wanted to move forward in your life. And you achieved that goal through all of this adversity.
Yes. I went back to school in 95. From when I moved to 95, I worked 3 jobs. That is something very interesting that we as humans, when we get out of these very adverse situations, we just got home, right? I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm going to take the bulls by the horns and my life is mine now. I will make it happen. But truth be told, the reality is life hits you hard because you still have to pay bills. I was living life, but that is not the life I wanted to live. And you start being complacent and never happy. 1994, I finally succeeded to bring my mom here for a visit. One day, I believe you'll appreciate this particular part from the book. It was a holiday. We just got
Mhm.
out of Mass. We went to Mass in Manchester, New Hampshire. It was cold, but it was snowing. And I walk in, the path with my mom. And all of a sudden, she stopped. I was still walking. So I turned around and said, "Hey, what's up?" Looked at me square, fair and square, and asked me, "What about you, Luisa? What about your dream?" And I was like, "Mom, don't you see how much I work? I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen." The funny part was, she said nothing. But that moment, it dawned on me the fact that I was losing this dream of mine go. So in a way, he was winning again. And at that moment, I said, no, I will do everything in my power to go back to school. So she left in January 1995. In February, I put my application for undergrad. I did have some classes that through 7 years I accumulated, but not the degree. I got accepted to do my undergrad in Lower Massachusetts, and I finished my undergrad. I took a year off to do research in Boston, accepted on the HPSP program, which is the Health Profession Scholarship Program through the Air Force, which pretty much has offered me a free ride to go to medical school based on my academic achievements. At the age of 35, I graduated medical school. And
Congratulations. What did it feel like?
if I could cry today,
You can
it
always cry.
was, but let me say this, turn it from crying into actually, how many more slaps can life gives us? Plenty, right?
Mhm.
My first son and my bag of water ruptured at 25 and a half weeks. The only thing was, it was the day of my graduation
Oh, wow.
at 2 in the morning.
Oh,
So
wow.
I never made my graduation. I never
Oh,
walked to my graduation. I never received my diploma in my hands, although it's behind me. And of course, I eventually got it. I called the dean and I said, "You must send me the diploma. I will send you a courier. I'll send you my husband. You're going to give it to my husband." Because it was, and I hung it in the hospital room above my
yeah.
bed. But it was like, okay, how should I fight for this diploma for the love of God? But it was amazing. Every time a nurse would come into my room that day, like, "Hello, Dr. Kiprono," and I would start bawling.
If we
Yes.
could fast forward, what you're doing, your purpose now, you work with high risk pregnancies. Where did that come from? Why? Why that? Why that specialty?
I think it's something subconscious, really
Mm.
do, because I really become a surgeon.
Mm.
And then I did my surgery rotation. I hated it. So I did OB, I did the OBGYN, and I just fell in love with it.
Mm.
But I think it's more than that. It is something there that is linked to my desire to heal people, to take,
Yeah.
to give them back their health, specifically women. When a woman is pregnant, is high risk, to me, it makes it so much more give her that healthy baby, to have a
Yeah.
healthy pregnancy. And I think it's just my desire to help people then morphed into to help women. But not only that, physically, but mentally. A lot of
Mhm.
our high-risk patients have a lot of mental health. Try very hard to explain to them this is not a stigma. This is
Mhm.
a diagnosis, the treated pregnancy, that you can overcome it with the right kind of therapy. The listeners, especially women listeners, to hear me out here. This is not a shame. It's a diagnosis, just like you would have diabetes, just
Mhm.
like you would have high blood pressure. So yes, it's okay to be medicated during pregnancy
Mm.
because I
So
have
you're specifically talking about like depression,
anxiety, depression,
anxiety, depression.
PTSD. We have a lot of patients with abuse, with history of trauma. And really, that's how it manifests. It gives them triggers, scared for their lives. Their lives don't really, for the most part, I tell you, the vast majority of my moms or pregnant patients out there don't really care anymore about themselves or their health once they get pregnant. Not too long ago, I had a patient had to choose termination at the end of her first trimester, where by the baby's all formed. I could have said, "Hey, it's your fault." Or I could have said, "Well, it's because you did all this, right?" No. Well, what's good is going to do? That's not the
Mhm.
point. The point is not to assign blame. The point is, as a patient's best advocate,
Right. A
She could,
support system. A support system.
right. She had
Yeah.
no support system, Barbie. She
Mm.
had no place to sleep. She
Hmm.
had no money. She had no job. What am I going to do? Just beat her down when she's down? I mean, really, we are all humans and we all make mistakes. And
Right.
she did it without knowing. So instead, one could say, which I said, just take this as a sign of a wake up and say,
Mm.
I have to do this for myself without judgment or shame. And I will straighten out whatever wrong I've done in the past. Then the next time I'm pregnant, I will do it right.
As we wrap up, we heard your story about, I mean, a terrible experience with your father, and your desire to be a doctor, at which you at 35 years old, because you never gave up. So, what would you tell our listeners? What would be a last thought or tool or wisdom that you would give to them about just life in general, maybe, or whatever it is that you feel like you want to give them?
We are all afraid of failure. We all have wounds. Instead of dwelling in those wounds, let them become scars and let them heal and let it go. If you don't, you're going to live in the past. I have three questions that I always pose to my audience, and it is, what did I learn? What drives me? And what's in my rainbow? What did I learn from my past that it cannot be undone?
Right.
It is what it is. But what I can do is I can let it go.
Hmm.
Not saying to forget, but you must forgive and let it go. It heals you as a person. The second is what drives me. To me, is it my accomplishments? You know, you can say, God, I am all this good. I have all these qualities. I can make it life bearing all the hardships and all the hard work. Okay. Or you can say, you know, I have all these handicaps and I can't do anything and I'm just going to rot there and feel better for myself and be a victim. And I chose the former because I
Hmm.
refuse to become a statistic. I refuse to feel sorry for myself. I will overcome. What's in my rainbow? Your dream, your goals are your rainbow. You just walk from a lot of storms. After every storm, there is a rainbow. So just
Right.
look ahead and you say, you know what? I had a terrible day. It's okay. Tomorrow's going to be a better day.
Mhm. People who connected with your story, I don't want to say enjoyed because I mean there was a lot of hardships in it, but connected with your story. How do they find you? Because I know you have a book, so you have things, tools that they can learn from. How do they find you?
And this is my book. I just wanted to show it to the audience.
Push, then breathe. And
From
then do you have a website?
I do. So the website is drluisa with double S K.com. And also I have my own practice, telemedicine practice, and that is telemed, TELEMED, MFM, Mike Foxtrot Mike.com.
And we will put all of that in the description. And we really appreciate you sharing your journey with us. I have no doubt that there are people who will see themselves in your story and take what you have done for yourself and remind themselves that they can do anything.
Yes,
Yeah, I
we
love
can
that.
do anything. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Anything that later, you know, your audience wants to connect with me or even ask questions, they can always reach me through my websites and through my newsletter. But it's been such a pleasure, Barbie.
Thank you. Likewise. And again, I will make sure that they have that information. So we appreciate you. If this story spoke to you, let's keep the healing going. Visit barbiemoreno.com for my online course, Awakening Your Worth and Healing Energy sessions, one-on-one coaching, and your free healing guide. Your next step is waiting.